Hello, powerful Scorpio. Something you've been sensing beneath the surface is already making its way toward you. It carries the power to shift your direction, touch the deepest part of your spirit, and remind you that you've never truly walked this path alone. This is more than just another video appearing on your screen. There is a reason you found this message today. Let me ask you something. Have you noticed that feeling lately, the one that quietly tells you change is near even though you cannot fully explain why? Maybe it showed up as a strong intuition, a strange sense of knowing, or a moment of silence that felt far too meaningful to be dismissed as coincidence. If you felt that, trust it, because it was never random. What began as a whisper is becoming something clearer now, something ready to be understood. I'm not here to offer vague predictions or empty promises. I'm here to walk beside you, Scorpio, as we uncover the wisdom that has been waiting for you in places you may have overlooked. What is unfolding carries more importance than you realize. A powerful shift has already begun moving into place, even if its full shape is not visible yet. In time, it will become clear. And it isn't arriving because of luck or chance alone. It is arriving because of who you become through everything you've endured. It reflects your resilience, your strength through difficult seasons, and the faith you carried when it would have been easier to walk away. Maybe you've questioned your direction. Maybe you spent more time waiting than you ever expected, but something is changing. The effort, patience, and quiet perseverance you've invested are beginning to reveal their purpose. Pieces are coming together in ways that may soon make more sense than they do right now. This isn't about religion. It's about alignment, presence, and divine timing revealing itself in your life. It's about realizing that you've never been as alone as you sometimes believed. Even during the hardest nights, signs continued to appear. A repeating number, an unexpected message, a dream that stayed with you long after morning arrived. The guidance has always been there, so pause for a moment and breathe with me. Allow yourself to recognize that something meaningful is happening right now. This video isn't here simply to entertain you. It's here to help you reconnect with something important within yourself. And if you're still here listening, that's a sign you're ready. Before we continue, I want you to comment the number 2121 below. This isn't about me, it's about you claiming your presence in this moment. Let that number become your signal that you're here, aware, and open to receiving what's meant for you. Then write, "I'm ready to receive what's mine." Let those words become your declaration. And if you supported this space with your time, your likes, your comments, or your subscriptions, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Every interaction helps keep this community growing and allows these messages to continue reaching the people who need them most. If these messages have brought comfort, clarity, or encouragement during your journey, you can also support the channel through the link in the description or the QR code on screen. Your support is never expected, but it helps us continue creating and sharing these messages with those who are meant to find them. To everyone who has already supported in any way, thank you. Your kindness helps create a place where hope, guidance, and meaningful connection continue to grow. Trust me when I say, Scorpio, you'll want to stay with me through this entire video, because what we're about to explore may change the way you see what's unfolding in your life. Before we move forward, tell me something. What did you do this week that may have drawn this message into your path? What quiet act of faith helped guide you here today? I think part of you already knows the answer. So let's step into this together. Let's begin. There are seasons in life when the quiet within feels heavier than everything happening around you. And often, it is in those still spaces that something deeper begins to speak. That voice does not arrive to judge you or remind you of your mistakes. It arrives to wake you up. That is the invitation carried by the judgment card in today's message. This card is not asking you to revisit the past with regret. It is inviting you to step into a truth that has been waiting beneath the surface for far too long. Scorpio, you may have spent more time than anyone realizes carrying things in silence, protecting others from your struggles while keeping your own feelings hidden. You learned how to endure, how to hold everything together even when part of you needed room to breathe. But real peace is not created by shrinking yourself to fit someone else's comfort. It begins when you honor what you genuinely feel and what you know in your heart to be true. Sometimes that truth changes familiar dynamics, and sometimes it asks you to outgrow old versions of yourself. That is exactly why this card appears now. Whenever the Judgment card shows up this early in a message, it signals a threshold. It asks you to pause and consider a few important questions. Whose expectations have been shaping your choices? What parts of yourself have you been hiding just to feel accepted? And perhaps most importantly, what part of you is ready to rise again? The timing surrounding June 21 and 22 carries its own significance. As the solstice light reaches its peak, hidden truths become harder to ignore. This energy reflects a movement from keeping things buried to bringing them into the open, from private knowing to honest expression. The invitation is not to become louder, it is to become more authentic. This is your moment to release what has remained locked inside, not to create conflict, but to create clarity. Imagine speaking the truth you have carried for so long and feeling the weight begin to leave your body. That possibility is at the heart of what this card wants you to see. You do not need to reinvent your life overnight. The first step is far simpler and far more powerful. Tell yourself the truth, even if it only exists on a page in your journal. Even if no one else hears it yet, write down 5 truths you have been avoiding. Let them include your desires, your disappointments, your hopes, and the dreams you quietly carry. Allow those words to become the spark that clears away the emotional fog. There is something deeply healing about bringing hidden truths into the light. When your inner world and outer life begin speaking the same language, everything starts to shift. Your relationships become more honest. Your trust in yourself grows stronger. Your sense of direction becomes clearer. And while we are not speaking in religious terms, there is something extraordinary about living in alignment with who you really are. The moment you stop performing and start showing up as your true self, a different kind of grace begins to move through your life. People respond differently. Situations begin to change. The pressure you have been carrying starts to loosen its grip. This is not chance, it is the natural result of authenticity meeting action. Many people talk about miracles as products of divine timing, and there is truth in that. What is mentioned less often is that miracles also emerge through courage. They grow from the quiet decision to say, "This is who I am, this is what I need, and this is what I need." That kind of honesty changes everything. So if you have been silencing yourself to keep the peace, allow today to become a turning point. Let it be the day you begin reclaiming your own voice. What waits beyond this truth is not loss, it is freedom. The life that fits who you are becoming may be much closer than you think. It begins with one simple question. What truth inside me is ready to be released? And as you sit with that question, another energy begins to emerge. Hope does not always arrive like a flash of lightning across the sky. Sometimes it returns quietly, like the first full breath after a long cry, or the gentle touch of fresh air after carrying too much for too long. That is how the Star card enters this message, offering a calm reminder that something within you is beginning to shine again. It may seem like a small shift, Scorpio, yet it has the power to change everything. After the awakening energy of judgment invited you to face the truths that no longer fit the life you're growing into, the Star arrives like a gentle hand reaching toward you. It does not ask you to force healing or rush toward answers. Instead, it reminds you that healing began the moment you stopped turning away from what needed to be felt. You do not have to prove your worth through struggle to receive restoration. You do not need a dramatic breakthrough to deserve peace. Your role right now is simply to remain open. Sometimes the deepest healing begins when you stop fighting every emotion and allow yourself to experience it honestly. The energy surrounding June 21 and 22 reflects this beautifully. As the solstice light reaches its peak, there is an invitation to slow down, reflect, and notice what has been quietly changing within you. This softness is not weakness. It is the place where real strength returns after a long season of carrying more than anyone could see. If you have been noticing repeating numbers like Tumble 121, unexpected messages, feathers appearing at unusual moments, or dreams filled with water and emotion, take a breath. These experiences are not asking for fear or doubt. They are invitations to pay attention. Often they appear after a quiet question has risen from the heart. Am I still being seen? And life responds in subtle ways. It reminds you that you have not been forgotten. The star encourages you to stop chasing every answer and begin allowing things to unfold. If you have spent too much time trying to carry every burden alone, this message offers a different path. Not every form of healing requires effort or struggle. Sometimes healing asks for rest, sometimes it asks for patience. Just as a river finds its course without forcing its way through every stone, your spirit needs space to restore itself in its own rhythm. That rhythm is available to you now. The star speaks of faith, not blind optimism, but the quiet understanding that what lies ahead may hold greater meaning than what was left behind. It is the kind of faith that grows after experience, after loss, after learning that not every delay is a denial. I often think about how this kind of hope appears in ordinary life. A woman once shared with me that she spent years hoping to reconnect with someone she deeply loved. Then one day, without warning or dramatic build-up, a simple knock came at her door. What she had waited for arrived naturally, in its own time. That is the energy of the star. It does not arrive with noise or spectacle. It arrives with nourishment. It restores what has been depleted and reminds you that growth can happen quietly. Scorpio, you may not feel completely ready to begin again. Yet new beginnings rarely wait for perfect conditions. They respond to willingness, and right now you are being offered an opportunity to trust your own light once more, even if that light feels small, even if it flickers from time to time. It still matters. It is still guiding you. So take a moment today and look at your life through a different lens. Where has hope been returning without demanding recognition? Where have small signs of healing been appearing while you were focused on larger concerns? Maybe it is your decision to keep moving forward on difficult days. Maybe it is the kindness you offered someone while carrying your own burdens. Maybe it is simply the fact that you pressed play on this video when something inside you needed encouragement. Those moments matter more than you realize. They are evidence that healing is already unfolding. If this message speaks to you, take a moment to acknowledge it. Leave a comment such as, "I see the light returning," or "I choose to believe again." Your words have power. Speaking them aloud helps strengthen the path you are choosing to walk. Healing does not always feel extraordinary while it is happening. Often it feels simple, quiet, and ordinary. Yet what appears ordinary on the surface can still be sacred within your life. That is the heart of the star's message, Scorpio. Let it guide the next steps ahead, no matter how gently they arrive. And when life begins speaking through signs, synchronicities, and subtle shifts, it is often preparing something beneath the surface long before it becomes visible. That brings us to the Empress. Her presence in this message is not merely a symbol of beauty or abundance. It is confirmation that the ground within you is ready, and that what has remained hidden for so long is beginning to move into a season of visible growth. This card often appears after long periods of quiet preparation. Perhaps you have given your energy to others without receiving recognition. Perhaps you have set aside your own desires while trying to maintain stability around you. Or maybe you have carried a vision deep inside yourself, nurturing it in silence while wondering whether the right moment would ever arrive. The Empress is no longer asking you to wait. She is inviting you to step forward, to bring something into existence, to become the person you have been quietly growing into. Around June 21 and 27, the energy feels especially supportive of this shift. As one cycle reaches completion and another begins to unfold, life seems to be offering permission to turn possibility into reality. There is a powerful sense that something long held beneath the surface is ready to emerge. The message here is simple but important. It is safe to want again. It is safe to reconnect with a dream, a desire, or a vision that you may have set aside for far too long. Too often, we delay our beginnings because we believe everything must be flawless before we take action. We tell ourselves we need more certainty, more proof, or better timing. Yet the Empress reminds us that creation has never been a perfectly ordered process. Growth can be beautiful and imperfect at the same time. Sometimes the value of creating something has nothing to do with the final result. Sometimes it is about reconnecting with a part of yourself that has been waiting to breathe again. It is the freedom of expressing yourself without constantly measuring the outcome. It is allowing joy to exist without requiring justification. I once spoke with a woman who devoted years of her life to responsibilities and expectations. One day, she picked up a paintbrush for the first time in nearly 10 years. She was not trying to impress anyone or build a career from it. She simply followed the quiet urge to create. What surprised her was not the painting itself. It was everything that followed. New friendships appeared, her sense of purpose deepened, and she felt more connected to herself than she had in years. She never planned those changes. They emerged because she honored something that wanted to come alive within her. That is the kind of transformation the Empress often brings. It begins with a small act that seems insignificant at first. Then, over time, that act opens a door to something larger. The invitation now is to ask yourself, what part of your life feels ready to step into the light? What idea have you been carrying quietly? What dream have you dismissed because it seemed too small, too late, or not important enough? Perhaps it is a creative project, a change within your home, a new skill you want to learn, or a memory you want to preserve before it slips away. Choose one thing, just one. Then take a step toward it this week. Not because it guarantees immediate results, but because it honors the growth that has been taking place beneath the surface all along. This is also a meaningful time to practice self-respect through action. Move your body in ways that feel supportive rather than punishing. Choose nourishment over guilt. Allow rest to become part of your rhythm instead of something you believe must be earned. The Empress teaches that the way you treat yourself shapes the energy you experience around you. When you begin honoring your own worth, life often reflects that shift back to you. What changes first is not always the world outside. Often it is the relationship you have with yourself. If you have been waiting for a sign to begin, let this be the one you recognize. Not simply because this message is encouraging you forward, but because you already feel that quiet pull within. You know the feeling. It is that persistent nudge towards something that has been calling your name for a long time. You do not need permission, you need presence. And presence begins with a simple decision. I am ready to act on what I have been carrying. Let that action become your prayer today. Write down 5 dreams you may have forgotten or postponed. Then choose the one that feels most alive right now. Before you continue, leave a comment and declare, I plant by acting today, because every meaningful transformation begins with a single step. What appears small in the beginning can grow into something far greater than expected when it is given attention and care. Even the smallest seed carries more potential than it first appears. And sometimes what grounds us is not certainty about the future, but a quiet sense that we are being guided, even when the full path remains hidden. After the awakening of judgment, the healing of the star, and the emergence of the Empress, another energy now steps forward. The Hierophant arrives like a steady presence beside you, reminding you that the road ahead is not one you have to walk alone. There is already a quiet order moving through your life, even if you have not fully recognized it yet. Beneath the surface, patterns are forming, lessons are connecting, and guidance is working in ways that are easy to miss when you're focused on what has not arrived yet. That is part of the message carried by the Hierophant. Its energy is often misunderstood, but in a personal message like this, it speaks less about rules and more about support. This card points toward the foundations that help sustain you. It reflects the habits that restore your spirit, the wisdom that has been passed down through experience, and the people who have helped guide you at important moments along your path. It also reminds you that some truths remain valuable because they have stood the test of time. For Scorpio, this energy carries a slightly different emphasis. Rather than asking you to follow someone else's path, it encourages you to trust the deeper wisdom already developing within you. Structure is not here to limit you. It is here to give your transformation something steady to grow from. The Hierophant often appears when your beliefs are evolving. You may find yourself questioning old assumptions, re-evaluating priorities, or exploring deeper questions about purpose and meaning. These shifts are not signs that something is wrong. They are signs that growth is taking place. This card does not arrive with every answer neatly packaged and explained. Instead, it reminds you that answers have been unfolding little by little all along. Even during the moments when you felt uncertain, guidance was still present. You were never expected to figure everything out alone. I remember hearing the story from someone who had spent years nurturing a dream. After months of feeling discouraged, she reached a point where she was ready to walk away from it completely. Then, on the very day she planned to quit, she received a simple message from someone whose life had been positively affected by something she had shared years earlier. That moment changed more than her decision. It changed the way she understood timing, trust, and the unseen connections working behind the scenes. Later, she said something that stayed with me. She realized she had not been forgotten. She had been protected while things were aligning in ways she could not yet see. That is the energy of the Hierophant. Guidance does not always arrive dramatically. More often, it appears quietly and at exactly the moment it is needed. Its presence reminds you that support exists even when it cannot be measured or explained. This card is traditionally connected with Taurus energy, known for stability, patience, and endurance. Its message is to build something real, to ground your vision in practical action, to respect what works while still allowing yourself to evolve into something new. Around this time, you may notice the number 5 appearing in unexpected places, perhaps on receipts, clocks, addresses, or small details that catch your attention. In numerology, 5 often symbolizes change and spiritual growth, but not the kind that throws everything into chaos. It points toward meaningful realignment. When this number appears, it can be a reminder that your foundation is becoming stronger. It suggests that what feels uncertain may actually be preparing you for what comes next. Growth is happening beneath the surface, even if the results are not visible yet. So if you have felt disconnected or unsure of where you stand, let this message reassure you. You have not been moving in circles. You have been moving through preparation. There have been forces at work, clearing space, creating openings, and guiding you toward the next stage of your journey. What looks like a delay may actually be redirection. What feels like waiting may be positioning. And if you have wondered whether anyone truly understands what you are carrying right now, the Hierophant reminds you that guidance can appear through a trusted mentor, a meaningful message, a piece of wisdom, or your own inner knowing. Take a moment and reflect on that. What daily practices have helped you stay grounded lately? What moments of guidance only became clear after enough time had passed to understand them? The answers may reveal more than you expect. And if this card resonates with you, leave a comment below and write, "I am being guided and protected." Say it not because you need evidence, but because speaking it aloud aligns you with what is already unfolding. Sometimes claiming a truth helps you recognize it more clearly. This is not a season to carry everything by yourself. Scorpio, let the Hierophant remind you that wisdom exists both within you and around you. You are not moving forward without direction. You are being guided. And now we arrive at the point where everything you have felt, sensed, hoped for, and even feared asks to become something real. Because belief on its own remains an idea. Belief paired with action is where true transformation begins. Scorpio, you have already moved through the awakening of judgment, the quiet healing of the star, the emergence of the Empress, and the steady wisdom of the Hierophant. Each of those energies has been leading you here. They have been preparing you for the moment when you stop treating your beliefs as ideas and begin living as though they are already true. Trust feels simple when everything makes sense. Real faith reveals itself when the path is unclear, when answers are incomplete, and when you choose to move forward anyway. That is what this stage of your journey is asking of you. It is not only about imagining a different future, it is about taking a step that aligns with it. That step does not have to be dramatic. It may be so small that no one around you notices it, yet your spirit will recognize it immediately. And that recognition matters more than outside approval ever could. Scorpio is a sign of transformation, not hesitation. You were never meant to spend your life waiting for permission to become who you are. You carry an instinct for truth, a willingness to go beneath the surface, and a capacity to rebuild yourself when life calls for change. The energy surrounding June 21 and 26 supports that movement. As one cycle reaches completion and another begins to emerge, there is a quiet invitation to stop standing at the edge of possibility and begin participating in it. Saturn reminds us that commitment creates strength. Mars encourages movement, courage, and action. Together they create an atmosphere that supports honest progress. Not perfect progress, not flawless progress, just real movement in the direction your heart has already been pointing toward. You do not need a complete blueprint before you begin. You only need a starting place. And perhaps that starts with one powerful question. If you knew failure was not possible, what would you choose to do today? Not next week, not when conditions improve, not when you feel completely ready. Today, would you submit that application, end what has been draining your energy, begin writing, or reconnect with someone who still lives quietly in your heart? That question reveals more than most people realize. It points toward the places where your spirit has been calling for change while fear continued to negotiate delays. Sometimes the desire itself is the sign you've been waiting for. I remember speaking with a woman who carried a dream of creating a wellness space for years. She kept waiting for a clear signal that the time was right. What she eventually discovered was that the longing itself was the signal. The dream remained alive because it was meant to be explored. She started with one small gathering in her living room. Nothing elaborate, nothing guaranteed. Yet that single action, rooted in faith instead of fear, became the beginning of something that touched not only her life, but the lives of many others. That is the power of action aligned with belief. It transforms possibility into reality, one step at a time. And it often begins with choices that seem insignificant in the moment. Bring this into your everyday life. In your health, create space for yourself each morning and evening, even if it is only 10 quiet minutes. Drink more water. Support your body with simple habits that communicate care and attention. In your work, ask yourself what you are holding on to out of routine, rather than fulfillment. Sometimes growth requires releasing what no longer nourishes you. That is not failure, that is clarity. With finances, pay attention to where your resources are going, not to judge yourself, but to better understand what truly matters to you. Awareness creates alignment. In love, become honest about your needs. Write them down if necessary. Then stop accepting connections that ask you to abandon those needs in order to remain comfortable. There is power in putting truth into words. What is written often becomes easier to honor. So if this message speaks to you, leave a comment and write, "I act in faith, not in fear." Let those words exist outside your thoughts. Let them take shape in the physical world. Sometimes a shift begins the moment a truth is spoken aloud. Scorpio, life does not respond only to wishes, it responds to willingness. And your willingness, when guided by trust, carries far more power than you may realize. Do not wait for a perfect moment to appear. Create movement now, even if that movement is gentle. Especially if it is gentle. This is not the end of your story. It is the moment you begin holding the pen yourself. And if you have stayed with me this far, take a slow breath. Fill your lungs with more than air. Let that breath carry permission. Permission to release the pressure, the deadlines you have placed on yourself, and the questions that have demanded answers before their time. Because the truth is simpler than you may think. You are not behind. You are not lost. You are not standing in the wrong place. You are exactly where you need to be, standing at the edge of a new chapter that has been waiting for your willingness to step forward. Much of your journey has involved waiting, but not the kind of waiting that leaves you unchanged. This has been the kind of waiting that transforms, the kind where roots grow deeper beneath the surface, long before new life becomes visible. You have been preparing for this through every quiet act of faith. Every difficult day you continued moving through, and every prayer whispered into uncertainty without knowing when an answer would arrive. And answers do arrive, not always on the timeline we expect, but often at the moment we are finally ready to receive them. You do not need to be saved. Scorpio, you are already being guided. That quiet feeling you've been carrying, the one that tells you something is changing, even when you cannot fully explain it, is not wishful thinking, it is alignment. What may appear to others as delay is often a deeper form of timing working in your favor. What feels postponed may actually be preparation. What seems like a closed door may be creating space for the right one to open. As the energy surrounding June 21 and 22 marks a threshold between cycles, you are being reminded that some things arrive only when you are ready to receive them. So let me ask you something gently. What would you allow yourself to accept if you truly believed it already belonged in your life? What blessing have you talked yourself out of, pushed away, or convinced yourself you needed to earn before welcoming it? What dream have you stopped speaking about because it felt too ambitious, too distant, or too much to ask for? This is the moment to bring those hopes back into the light, not through pressure, not through force, through honesty and willingness. And perhaps that begins with one simple choice today. Maybe it looks like writing down a thought you've been avoiding. Maybe it is making a decision you've delayed. Maybe it is finally expressing a need that has remained unspoken for far too long. Perhaps it is allowing yourself to believe that the love, opportunity, healing, or breakthrough you've been waiting for is not as far away as it once seemed. Maybe it has been moving toward you quietly all along, searching for an open door. And Scorpio, you are that door. Let your actions become your response. Let your comment become your declaration. Say it with me. I give myself permission to receive all that is good without conditions. Allow those words to become your message to the universe, not from a place of asking or pleading, but from a place of readiness. Not someday, today. And if this video connected with you in any meaningful way, I invite you to take one more small step. Like, comment, and subscribe so we can continue sharing these messages together. This space is about connection, encouragement, healing, and the quiet moments that help people find their way back to themselves. Your presence here matters more than you may realize. Every form of support helps these messages continue reaching the people who are meant to hear them. If these messages continue to bring clarity and comfort to your journey, you can also support the channel through the link in the description or the QR code on screen, helping us keep this space growing for everyone who finds their way here. And to everyone who has already offered support in any form, thank you. Your kindness helps create a place where hope, guidance, and meaningful connection can continue to reach the people who need it most. Scorpio, you are not alone. You never have been. The signs have been speaking, the path has been opening, and something meaningful is continuing to move toward you. Not to overwhelm you, but to remind you that you are seen, supported, and stronger than you may sometimes remember. The next step belongs to you, and the universe is already walking beside you. Are you ready?